Live before we start. You see the title. You know what it is. I'm gonna give you guys some training tips. My name is Jeremy Majors, Alpha Majors Academy Dog Training, and we are in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I'm a professional dog trainer. And today we're going to give you some tips on what to do when you visit the vet if you have a fearful dog, timid dog, or aggressive dog. All right, just bear with me. I'm going to get Facebook Live going in 1 minute. All right, here we go. Oh, shit. Trying to reconnect. What's up, everyone? Jeremy Majors here with Majors Academy Dog Training out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And we are live on Facebook, episode Thirsty Thursdays, episode 63, coming at you. Once again, this is a once a week show, dog training Q&A. We're starting off with titles now because I want to have a central focus to the conversation. Feel free to add to the conversation. Feel free to ask questions about the conversation or the topic. But feel free to ask any question you like. All right, we'll take a break and we'll ask from the topic and we'll ask or answer your questions that you may have. All right, let's get started here. Let me just refresh. Hi, Mark. How are you? Hope you guys have had a wonderful New Year's. Okay, here we go. All right. Catherine says, should I let little dog sit on Jack's bed that he uses place for, or keep his bed sacred for him? I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. I don't think it makes a difference unless they're taking over his bed. But Happy New Year, Katie. This is the first episode in 2018, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, I wouldn't put too much thought in it. If it works for Jack, then that's fine. If it doesn't work for Jack, then you may have to. I'm answering your question right now. Hi, how are you? But anyway, yeah, like I said, I think it doesn't matter if Jack still or if it helps him or it doesn't hurt him, I should say, take his plate or take away from his place and how good his place is. Then I don't think it matters. So, but if they're taking over the bed, like I said, then you may have to switch some things up. All right. Thank you for your question. Foster dog has bitten another dog and redirected on a human who broke up the fight. Not my foster dog. I'll be doing a pack walk Sunday, with the dog and mine. Best tips. Happy New Year. Tips for the walk. Obviously, make sure the dog's walk is under control. Make everyone, I would say, sit in like a circle. Let the dog calm down for a second before you go on to the walk. Just make sure the walk is okay first and he's under control. Make sure you may have like a pet convincer or a dog you don't, and then take it from there. But the dog, if he's bad, real bad, then you can put him in the front of the pack or the back of the pack. But that's tips for the walk. I hope that's what you were looking for. If it's tips for that situation, then let me know. All right. Do dogs enjoy the treadmill? Yes and no, I would say. I think the more bratty the dog is, the dog doesn't want to do what it doesn't want to do. And that just goes with everything. So if you train the dog correctly, they can learn to like it. It's just like a dog that doesn't like water. You know, I've trained many dogs that have started off not liking water, And then I've showed them how good it actually can be once they get out of their own head, and it can be a good thing, and they can realize that, and then they look forward to it. So it just depends on the dog. Um, Either way, if trained properly. What up, 2018? What's happening? Oh, you can't see my neighbor's got a big old light in his backyard that says 2018. It's pretty cool. What is daisy chasing? I don't know what daisy chasing is. Lola is a bratty dog too, so stubborn. I think she's really my dog for a reason. Yeah, Lola can be stubborn for sure. All right. Maybe let's get to the daggum conversation or the topic. All right, so topic is what to do with a fearful dog or an aggressive dog at the vet. Say your dog hates the vet, the vet visits and this, that, and the other. There are certain things, chasing where you leash two dogs together, chaining where you leash two dogs together. I still don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Chaining where you leash two dogs together. And then what, are they pulling something or like? Please go into detail for me if you don't mind. But anyway, okay, going to the vet, fearful dog, aggressive dog. There are things that you can do to be proactive with getting your dog comfortable with the vet before even going there. Okay. I think that's cool. That's fine. Daisy chasing. I didn't even know that was a term. Um, I really like. That's fine. Yeah, I would encourage that 100%. Um, but as far as vet visits go, again, so there are things you can do at home before you visit the vet that'll get your dog more comfortable with when it gets to the actual vet visit. Okay. And that depends again how fearful or aggressive your dog can be. If you think your dog is going to bite, then go ahead and start getting the dog used to a muzzle. Let's just go with that first and foremost. Very easy to follow. All right. If you think your dog is going to bite, go ahead and start putting a muzzle on the dog. Now, which muzzle is very important. Don't put that cloth muzzle on the dog where the dog can't open its mouth. Don't do that. Those muzzles are. I don't really like those muzzles. I prefer the Baskerville muzzles, right, or just basket muzzle, where they can be muzzled and they can still drink or open their mouth to breathe. Okay, so it's a nice big open muzzle. Okay, that's the muzzle that I would recommend for your dog in any situation. Okay, we got a question here. Jeremy, whining dog when they see another dog, looking for techniques. Been using prong, remote, slip, foot tap, bonker, 70% fixed. But what a headache, howling, whining, starting to seize, but uphill battle. All right, here's the deal with that. And I think I've kind of mentioned this before, but it's truly, truly tough to get 100% better with every dog. Most dogs may need a lot of time. 1-year-old, that's really young for that severe. But what I would say is if the walk technique is good, then that's what you need to focus on. I mean, that's pretty much if the technique is good, if they're minding okay, then that's okay. The dog then just needs more time within those protocols, right? Or within those training techniques. And that's something that you may not be able to see with the time that's given to you, but you are the 5th owner. Been with me three months. Okay, so I'll have to think about some more ideas, but right away, if this is your dog and this has been going on for 3 months, how's the did you mention let's see what you say. You said e-collar, right? Foot tap, bunker, e-collar, remote. But it's an uphill battle. So is there? Let me ask you this: is there a certain dog that, a certain type of dog, certain size of dog that usually sets your dog off? Sets this dog off? Um, I think the toughest dog that I had was a German Shepherd, and but the owner was very played a very big role into why the dog was just pretty just ruthless on leash. Obedience great, skateboarders and dogs the worst. Okay. So 3 months is a long time though. 3 months is a long time. I think with you, it should be getting better with 3 months. How about this? Send me some video if you can of what's going on, and I can maybe see what's up. You know what I mean? If you're willing to do that, that would be great. Um, Send me a video and let me see what's going on. Send me at least two instances, like maybe a skateboard instance and a dog, and then send me and give me at least 30 seconds of the dog reacting, and then the dog after it sees it. So like 30 seconds after it sees the skateboard of dog, but 30 seconds beforehand as well, if that's possible. So maybe then I can give you some more ideas. All right. Okay. So back to the vet protocol. First of all, again, if you do right away have a dog who you think might become aggressive, bite, then start to muzzle condition the dog. Okay, Baskerville muzzle is the brand that I choose to use, and they have a nice sizing chart online, but also you can get them at Petco or PetSmart. So if you need a Baskerville muzzle, then that would be the one that I would go with. It's a basket size muzzle. Once again, it's not one of those cloth muzzles that hold their mouth shut. Those are more for grooming, I guess. But so yeah, that's the first thing that I would do. Okay, and then so now that you've kind of got that you can build off, and all these things you can get used to, you can get the dog used to at home. Okay, so basket muzzle, but also get the dog used to standing still, just standing still, right? Or even sitting still. But either way, get used to the dog being handled by you in a certain manner. The same way the dog would be bathed or something. If you have to put the leash on the dog to do so, then do so. But if you grab your dog's collar, right, you should train your dog once you do that to sort of relax and sort of calm. Okay, you really want that, and then start, maybe simulating what a vet would do in certain situations to get your dog to just become familiar with it. And again, all this stuff you can do at home. So get your dog used to being handled by their collar, right? Kind of turn them around. Play with their back area, play with their chest, anything you can think of that the vet would do. You can get them used to doing so. But here's the key. The key is you being there. And I think, for me, I request that I hold my own dogs. And I think some vets will obviously, make their assistant hold your dog. But if in this case, if you have a fearful dog, you should be the person that can reach your dog the most, right? You should be the person that your dog trusts the most. And so if you don't feel confident of that, then that means you have work to do. Because I do think that that should be, and that is the best way to get your dog to get over or improve vet visits. Okay, so just small example is that I was working a dog. It was I think it was a small Eskimo dog, but the dog, as soon as they saw people at the vet, no matter where it was, the dog would just fearfully be barking, aggressive barking, all that good stuff. And if if you try to touch the dog, it would try to bite you. Blah 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 blah. Just crazy off the hinge behavior. And dog spent 3 weeks with me. Then about a week after that, we went to the vet. And because I was there for the dog 3 weeks ago, or for 3 weeks, the dog trusted me enough to take him through that vet visit and not try and bite once. All he did was a little bit of growling, and then I corrected that with verbally. But I held the dog like I would hold the dog. So I held the dog by the leash, but the dog was right here, so very short leash, right? And then I put another leash underneath his backside and just kind of held that up so he couldn't turn around as easily, but he didn't even try to attempt to turn around. So that I just say that to say the dog was so used to sort of having me be there that the dog chose not to react in that aggressive manner that it did before he got to me. So I really truly believe that owners can be the best advocate for their dog in a vet visit situation if you have a fearful dog. But there are also some successful vet visits when the dog is taken away from the owner, because then they don't have that sort of bratty background to fall back upon. So if any of you guys have any experiences or cool tips or good, feel free to chime in. How do you use the e-collar for things like recall and training to that, but then also use of correct bad behaviors? Does that confuse the dog? Or is it more just, hey, look at me for further direction in neutral and negative situations? Great question. So you can use them for everything and anything, and you want to. You don't want to just use the e-collar for just punishment, but you also want to use the e-collar to communicate. The levels at which you do punish are going to be higher than the levels that you do use to communicate. But the key is to use your words, right, when you are doing that correcting, because you want to eventually not use the e-collar to that effect every single time. You want to be able to use your words. So the e-collar is a bridge to get the dog to take your word for it. No means no. Come means come. All this good stuff. So use that, and also use your words at the same time. Just layer those two so that eventually you don't have to use just the e-collar, because that's how a lot of dogs become fearful, when you put the e-collar on. Okay, great question. Thank you for your question. All right, another tip you can do for the vet visit is, I want to talk a little bit more about that leash on the back side. I think that's something that I've had much success with. The dog cannot turn around, right? So this is what I do. If I have a fearful and aggressive dog that I'm taking to the vet, I'm going to help make the dog face me. My back is on the wall. The dog's head is towards me or away from the vet. And I tell the vet to just do their thing, and I'm going to keep their head facing the wall. That way they're not really seeing it, but they can still hear me, see me, and feel me. What's that? Oh, there we go. Finally, somebody noticed the fire. I was talking to Alyssa. I'm like, when are they going to notice the fire in the background? So I'll have to show you guys what it is. My neighbor is a very creative guy, and he put a rocket in my front yard. This year, it goes around, I guess, from house to house. But this year, my house has got to have the rocket in our yard. So that's what that is. Nobody's on fire. But thanks for noticing. Because if it was on fire, it would have taken you guys 20 minutes for you guys to tell me that it was a fire going on. But yeah, it's just a rocket. It's just a daggum Christmas ornament or whatever decoration. So anyway, back to the leash thing. Um, Again, when I have dogs that are getting shots, blood work, whatever it is, you want to control the head, right? Um, One way you can do that is put your hand, let the dog's head rest on the hand, and if you feel the dog getting tense, then you kind of tighten up just a little bit, right? But when you feel the dog relax, then you relax as well. But meanwhile, talking to the dog and not really not a lot of sweet talk, but when you feel the dog tighten up, say no. And then I told Buddy to relax, and then when he did relax, I was like, "Good boy," you know what I mean. Um, but the key is obviously the head is going to be the first thing that moves if he decides to try and bite someone. So, but you do have your muzzle on. But again, so the dog's facing the wall. Vet comes from behind, does this thing from behind, right? Um, and I've had success with that in 2 vet visits with lately with a Doberman and a American Eskimo dog. But but again, most importantly than that, the dog did trust me because I took the dog through 3 weeks of sort of saying, you've got to do this, you got to do this, and it paid off. How do you hook a leash to his back end? Do you know how Dusty is afraid of everything. He's so strong, and I have trouble keeping him still. So one of the things I would do for Dusty is, so this is how I hook a leash on the back end of a dog. All I do is take the clasp part, and then the other end where there's the hook or the loop, and I put it underneath his belly, and then I put the clasp through the loop, so I make a slip lead just like that. Okay, and then again I'll hold his. So I don't know if they do this for confirmation, maybe not, but well, they kind of do because they keep lifting up the butt, but keeping Dusty stationary, I think he's kind of like Tobias too. Tobias is kind of flighty like that. Like the other day, I tried to take his jacket off of him, and after I was halfway done, and he kind of, just tried to go off on his own. And so I have trouble keeping him still, but connect him to something, put him on a treadmill, or connect him to something, to a fence or something that can keep him stationary just from his leash, and then you can eventually get to his backside. That's how I usually get dogs used to grooming nails um, because again, if you elevate those back 2 feet, they can't turn around and get you. So be patient with Dusty. He's kind of a headstrong dog as well, but it's all about getting past that, and sometimes that just takes perseverance. All right, thank you for your question. Thank you, Danny. Happy New Year. All right, so again, I think so I'll reiterate. If you do have a dog that you think is going to bite during the vet visit, make sure you're muzzle conditioning the dog. How do you do that? All right. One of the ways a lot of trainers muzzle condition their dog is by getting their favorite treat or getting some food and putting it at the end of the muzzle, letting the dog kind of come in and praising the dog when it actually does decide to go get that treat. And then they take the dog back out and repeat, and then eventually they clasp the muzzle and all that, and then give treats through the muzzle, blah, 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 blah. That's some good muzzle conditioning. But also you can start taking your dog on walks with the muzzle on, because they'll try and do this number, try and get it off if they're very uncomfortable with it. But walking obviously takes away some of that their ability to do so. So muzzle conditioning is very important for that dog. But more, and then again, keeping the dog, getting the dog used to being stationary is another very big key, which a lot of dogs are just won't let you do. They won't let you keep them still for long enough for you to do anything for that matter. So very important for that. Okay. But again, you want to be the person the dog trusts the most, not the vet. Some dogs do better with their owners away from them, but I would say you need to be the one that is the dog's advocate. All right. So this is another topic that I didn't think I was going to talk about, but what do you like to do when they paw the muzzle? Um, I usually have the leash on. Obviously, I'll tell them no, but we'll just go for a walk. Um, I like taking a long walk with the dog with the muzzle on, and giving some treats every now and then. Um, you know, yeah, there's tons of dogs that'll try and get it off right away, but um, you can even put a gentle leader on before you put the muzzle on. Um, that may help a little bit. I've had success with that, but mostly I just put a regular leash on, regular collar on, and then we just walk. You can also um, try and get them to get used to the muzzle with treadmill work as well. Treadmill work does it. Anything that just occupies their mind, but yeah, be careful with that because sometimes they can rip the dew claws and they can be a bloody mess. So now I forgot what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about something else. Hmm, I don't remember. Um, all right, those of you who just joined in on YouTube, feel free to ask any questions that you have. We'll be here for until we run out of questions or until I stop. Uh, I don't have anything else to talk about. I was just going to talk about something else too. Oh man. Shoot. What is? Oh, I was trying to look for an agility trainer in the area, and I posted that on Facebook. I was trying to look for an agility trainer. So if any of you guys didn't see, um, help me out. I'm trying to find an agility trainer for myself and my dog. I got a dog who just would love it. I think he would do that. You see some dogs that do that parkour stuff. They would love that. He would love that. He does that already. It's like crazy. During the act of pawing it off, how does Jeremy correct? Again, verbally, and I'll give a leash correction up or make the dog sit. That's what I'll do. I'll give the dog the sit command. Um, and I'll usually lift up its head until he relaxes and start saying good to him, right? So, and then I'll continue to walk. But if he starts to do that, I'll just obviously say no. That's what Buddy did, the American Eskimo, when we took him to the vet the last week. Thank you so much for being a huge positive resource for owners and dogs alike. You can tell this is your passion, not just your job. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming out and letting me work with your girl Lola. She truly is a beauty. Now let's just get that behavior nipped in the bud. How about that? Um, Man, I was going to talk about something else. God dang it. So we talked about the vet. We talked about vet protocol. Man, I had something else I wanted to talk about that I really wanted to talk about too. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is what I wanted to talk about. So I had just visited a dog that was super cat aggressive, right? Okay. So dogs, so people think that, and trainers also think that dog and cat aggression is an isolated event. Dog and children aggression is an isolated event. Oh, this is what I wanted to talk about. Now I got it. All right. So check this out, because I'm starting to observe this in children too. You guys ever know a child or someone who has children and you just really enjoy their children? You know, it's gotten me to think there are people that have children that you cannot enjoy. You can't enjoy them on a personal level, because and I got to thinking, why is that? Why some children you can connect with very well and feel, you know, very connected with, but some you can't. Um, and it's the same way with dogs, man. It's the same way. There are dogs who you really can't connect with until you get them away from their parents. Why? I really do think it is the level at which they are spoiled or not. 100%. Dogs and kids alike. If the dog has, got a question on YouTube. I have a 3 month pit bull, but she is turning aggressive recently. Any suggestions? Tell me the areas in which the dog is becoming aggressive. But either way, my first suggestion would be more structure, less affection, more giving the dog to do something positive, or do something the dog necessarily doesn't want to do. Less freedom, more structure will take the aggression away. Okay, so here we go. Um, Again, there are dogs who seek out affection from owners, and then there are dogs who don't. There are dogs who will, seek out affection from strangers, and then there are dogs who don't. There are dogs who will bite strangers, right? Okay, so that being said, I'm thinking it's solely related to the same sort of thing, right? Because I tell people this right here. If you want your fearful dog to eventually enjoy what humans have to offer, and what do humans have to offer dogs? A freaking belly rub. The same things they enjoy with you. Belly rub, butt scratch, you know, chest scratch, chin rub, ear behind the ear scratch, all that good stuff. Dogs love that, right? But I'm willing to bet if they're getting way too much of it at home, they ain't gonna seek it out from a stranger. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's one of the things I tell people. All right. I have a dog who is a would be the most sassy dog on the planet if she had no boundaries. But man, she's been turning her back, giving her butt to strangers, um, and she wouldn't have never done that if she wasn't living with a person who like me that I really make her work for that affection. Um, so so that's what I'm realizing. It's the same thing with kids, you know, and that's not even who they are. And it's kind of saddens me that parents can label their children as spoiled. They're spoiled as their characteristic. That's an attribute to their personality. No, it's not. It's what they're allowed to be. It's not. So you don't even know truly who your child is, because they can do whatever they want. But that's not how you define their personality. So same thing with dogs. I take dogs for 3 weeks away from their parents, and I'm able to see the dog's true personality come out, and see who they really are after they've been given some good boundaries and structure. So I just wanted to tell you guys that. I realized that this week. I'm just like, man, it's so crazy how some children are much more enjoyable than others, but it's based on how they are treated or what they're allowed to get away with at home. And it's the same thing with dogs. So if you are out there that have a dog that is barking and being a brat and fearful towards strangers, you may want to cut back the amount of affection because dogs are going to like affection. That's the only thing, that's the most uh, powerful tool that I can use to get the dog to come to me is their need for it because I sort of don't give it to them until they deserve it. And then they come to me and then we're very cool. You know what I mean? Cheers. Um, so yeah, you know, again, if you have a dog that's nervous, especially if you've had the dog for over a year, then I would say it's not. It's more so. Most so, if the dog, can the behavior is coming from a place of I can do this, because I don't really need to be pet. I get pet all the daggum time. Who are you? I don't want to be by you. That sort of sassy attitude. That's not a humble attitude. But if we can help our dog see that you can actually, if you act accordingly, or if I make you work for the affection, you may seek it out in others. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts. And thanks for listening. I think, the psychologists say you don't learn when you think, you learn when you speak. So thank you for letting me speak about it. When it's this cold, how long can you safely walk a dog? I'm not sure. I read the dog. It depends on the dog. Dogs are going to have obviously thicker fur. Some dogs are going to be able to handle it. But I read the dog. I put a jacket on the dog, and if I see the dog doing this with its paws, then I know it's time to go in. But I usually try and walk on concrete so that I can alleviate that. If you're walking on snow, then they're more likely to do this number. But I read the dog. So. Do dogs have to get baths? I have a boxer mix who hates water. She stays pretty clean. So is there a need to bathe her? I can wipe down her paws if muddy, that she tries a full bath and it did not go well. No, Pam, I think dogs are definitely going to need baths. I mean, what if the dog decides to roll in mud? Dog poop, goose poop, those things happen. I would get the dog used to that general animal husbandry type stuff, and that is one of them. Maybe take the dog to a groomer, someone who's experienced with it to help your dog get used to being bathed, or take your dog to one of those self-wash things where you can actually tie the dog up. All right. If the dog hates it and there's no reason for the dog to hate it, then show the dog that it shouldn't hate it. And that's sort of my philosophy. We were talking about that earlier. Make sure the water is nice, lukewarm. You know, I don't. That's about it. The dog should be able to be okay being stationary with you, and you being able to wash your dog. It's a good thing. So that's something I would work towards. But I'll tell you this: don't let your dog's fit of not liking it or attempt to get out of it work, because the dog's just going to do it again. Once the dog decides, or once the dog figures out that their tantrum or whatever it is that they do is not going to work for them, then they're going to stop doing that behavior. So you may just have to one day take her through the whole thing, expect to blow up, all that and the other, and let her do it, and then continue to bathe her, but don't let her win. All right, and then the next time it'll be cut in half, if not be solved by then. All right. Thank you for your question. Feel free to ask another one. I think everyone needs boundaries and limits, children and pets and people in general. Absolutely, 100%. If no one had boundaries, then it'd be like the Wild West. We'd just be shooting people and taking money. That'd be bad. Can you continue to say what you were saying about cats? Yeah. So again, I'm currently working with a dog who is really fearful of these cats, and the owners didn't think that the dog was fearful of the cats because the dog was going after the cat. And yeah, there are dogs who go after cats who aren't fearful of cats. That's just because they're being prey driven. But this dog went into avoidance when we just started correcting the dog for the lunging behavior. So that's how you know the dog was kind of fearful of the situation, because the dog did not want to be by the cat. What it rambunctious character, and wanted to play. I mean, when we were training, the cat was just being very kind of would circle us, wanted to come near the daggum dog, and we are just like, so young rambunctious cat. But anyway, when it comes to cat aggression, you do have to be able to somewhat control both parties in order for them to start off a good relationship. So here's what I was talking about, is that children, dogs, cats, dogs, all those, if you're having problems with any of those things, and focus on trying to renew the relationship by more structure. Okay. So my last and best example, well, not my last example, but my best example, two Rottweiler males, 120 pounds each. They would fight over attention. They would fight this, that, and the other, to the point where they just didn't even trust each other being around each other, because they just were just on edge, right? So you gotta step in and show both dogs that both dogs can actually be in control. If you have one of the other, if you don't have that, if you don't have both of those things, you will continue to have those fights. Because if one dog is just allowed to do whatever it wants, that's going to make the other dog nervous. If you have a kid that does what it wants, crawls all over the dog, you're going to have a dog that doesn't trust that daggum human, that child. So you want to be able to control the child. Same with the cat. Cats are weird, hard to control, I know. But for the dog's sake, if we can control the cat, and while I was there, the cat did respect sort of my body language. When I stepped towards the cat stopped coming towards us. So that was pretty cool to see. But reverse of that, if you have a prey drive dog, if you're a dog, the cat decides to start to come out more, and that's what starts to facilitate a better relationship between cat and dog. Control does. That's what it's about. Okay, so controlling both parties long enough until they can say, "Oh, you're cool. Oh, okay, I'm cool," type deal, and then they start to go up from there. Go forward from there. Hope that answered your question. Is there something on fire behind you? Are we seeing a fireplace reflecting in the window? No, it's a rocket. I have a rocket in my front yard. I already showed them, but I'll show you again, because you watch a lot. See, it's a rocket. You see that? It's like a Christmas ornament. My neighbor came up with this. He's a heating and air guy, and Anyway, people love the daggum rocket. They stop. They take selfies with it. But thanks for noticing, because yeah, there is definitely something on fire back there, but it's just a rocket. So yeah. All right, you guys. It's been real. You guys have any questions? Feel free to ask. Type now. Type in your last minute questions. Otherwise, we are going to sign out because it's been fun. A nice 45-minute discussion about dogs. I've done most of the talking, but that's what I'm supposed to do, I think. But anyway, all right. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the first episode in 2018. I really appreciate you guys watching. Be back next week, Thursday. We're going to be here, same time, same channel, same place. Be ready with your questions. And again, thank you guys for watching. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good night. You can send it to me.